Okay, sorry about the delay. It's recording and live streaming. And your worship, you are muted if you're speaking.
Muted again, Pat. You were on for a minute or a moment. There you are.
Well, it says mute when I.
Oh, you're on now.
Okay. Okay, Nick, it's off the screen there now. Okay, welcome to the special meeting of council electronically via Zoom, June 23rd, 2020, 4:40 p.m. Meeting called to order, and we'll start with a moment of silence. Approval of the agenda.
I have a motion moved by Eugene Ivanoff, seconded by Dennis Perrier. Be it resolved that the agenda for the special meeting of council held on June 23rd, 2020, beginning at 4:40 p.m. be approved as circulated to all members of council.
Any objection from council? None noted. Motion carried. Declaration of pecuniary interest. Councillor Ivanoff.
Yeah, I'm going to declare I have a pecuniary interest in the bylaw that's for the extension of the patios, because I own a facility in Kirkland Lake that has a.
Okay, duly noted. Councillor Owen.
Yeah, I'm declaring a pecuniary interest in item 5-1 as my son is a member in the in-camera session of the meeting, as my son is a member of QP.
Okay, duly noted. Thank you. Reports of municipal officers and communications. Item number 4.1, temporary seasonal patio program. Ms. Bilodeau.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Through you to council, we received a request from a local business to expand an outdoor patio temporarily, as was suggested by the provincial government under stage 2 of the reopening. Unfortunately, due to the zoning restrictions, we were unable to accommodate this request without a formal planning process. So in order to remain in line with the strategic priorities that were set the last council meeting, staff are suggesting that the implementation of a temporary seasonal patio program and a temporary use bylaw in order to promote economic development and show support for our local businesses. So the temporary program and bylaw have been reviewed by staff, and what we did was we tried taking into account each restaurant and bar in Kirkland Lake. We're confident that each of them would be able to accommodate an expanded patio if they so chose to do under the program. It should assist in increasing revenue during these challenging times. The temporary use bylaw, it's essentially a zoning bylaw amendment, and it is required to follow the process under the Planning Act. So that includes a 20-day notification period, a public meeting, and a 20-day appeal period. With council's direction, staff anticipate providing notification for the public meeting tomorrow, with the public meeting being held July 14th. At that time, pending no appeals, staff would be able to sign off on patio permits that are in accordance with the program and the temporary bylaw. So essentially this program that's been established is to show support for our local businesses. And we are suggesting that there be no fees to apply for the patio extension underneath this program. So I am able to take questions or if there's any comments regarding what I have proposed in draft form for you tonight.
Councillor Owen.
Yeah, I was just wondering, how are you going to hold that public meeting?
It'll be through Zoom. So it's the same process as we did with the zoning amendment for 48 McCamus. So if anybody would like to participate through Zoom, we would provide them with the link and provide them an opportunity to speak. Comments can also be provided written or email. That's fine too.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Adams.
Making this bylaw amendment, is this to appease all business owners or just on the request of one councillor? I'm just curious.
Through your worship, this is actually going to benefit everybody. So what we tried to do, there's a bunch of things that could come up from a setback standpoint on each individual property. This is also allowing businesses to look at expanding into the sidewalk area. So pedestrian wise, that we're looking at potential waivers of encroachment agreements through council. So to try and get those done really quickly for people. There are protection and health and safety measures that are within that program to make sure that we're not causing any safety issues or liability concerns. But yeah, certainly it's for everybody to take part on. And what we did with staff is I had my staff and myself go through each restaurant and bar to ensure that everybody would be capable of developing something beside them, adjacent to or in front of their property.
Councillor White.
Hi, during the report, you do mention an R2 zoning. So just out of curiosity, for the R2 zonings, it has like dentistry, doctors, architects, hairdressers, all kinds of different uses that you can use in an R2. My question is, are they paying a residential rate still or a commercial rate if they have like a hairdressing shop within their home? How does that work?
Through your worship, I believe that just to clarify, you're talking about the home occupation section, the general provisions for home occupation. Yeah, okay. So I have seen MPAC actually assess a commercial aspect of the property. So it'd be residential with a commercial aspect to the property. And I've seen a couple of land sales actually transpire with that type of analogy as well from a tax perspective. So as long as we are aware that that business exists, then typically it'll be taxed with that aspect of it. I can look into it a bit further too to try and get you a better answer, but from my understanding, that's what I've come across.
Okay, no,
Yeah.
it was just a curiosity when I read through the zoning today of how that works. Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, and your worship, Ms. Bilodeau's answer is bang on, so no need for further research there, I don't think.
One comment, Ms. Bilodeau, a job well done and was very thorough. I like the fact that it's one size fits all, basically, that any restaurant owner who wants to extend their patio or open their patio up, we don't have to go through it on an individual basis. And the other thing, and I think this was brought up by Councillor Owens, was the ability to have a sidewalk cafe type of approach as well, which that I know they do in Rouen and Noranda, and they've been doing it for years, and it certainly works out well for them. So appreciate Councillor Owens' input in passing that on to us so that we got it included in this proposed bylaw. Councillor Owen?
Yeah, I have one concern, and I'm sure that Ms. Bilodeau has already answered it, and I just didn't see the answer. When I had young kids and stores used the sidewalk for selling merchandise, and I'm pushing kids in a stroller or whatever, it created a problem in terms of walking downtown and shopping downtown. So we're talking about the ability of these restaurants to use part of the sidewalk, and I'm just wondering what consideration will be given to the foot traffic, the people in wheelchairs, the people that are pushing baby carriages, the people that are pulling carts with groceries in it. It's probably there. I just missed it.
Certainly, through your worship, we did take that into account. So what we do in those circumstances, that look at using the parking that's directly in front of the property that wants to expand, and we'd push that sidewalk into that parking spot. You'd essentially lose a parking spot in order to accommodate it, but there would be ramps to come down to that ground level and ramps to come back up. That is going to be something that that we look at and work at with the individual who's interested in expanding that patio. But as long as we can make it work and it's done safely, I think we did put some setbacks in there to make sure that we were a certain distance away from vehicular traffic. But so yeah, it is considered in that program.
Thank you.
Question for you, Ms. Bilodeau. So if somebody wanted to do the sidewalk cafe approach, I noticed in the application, this particular application is, for instance, that a plan had to be drawn out and the measurements as well. So is that still in effect for that sidewalk cafe approach as well?
Yes, certainly.
So you will have some control over in advance of to cover off Councillor Owen concern, because I think that we don't have the widest sidewalks. They're not bad, but we want to make sure people can still walk by. So that's been taken into consideration, so it's appreciated. Yeah. Yep. Councillor White.
Yeah, just for clarification, were all businesses spoken to about this coming to council when you were developing it?
For your worship, no, unfortunately, we didn't have the time. This came up rather quickly. They are going to get an opportunity to speak on this. Specifically, the temporary use bylaw will be coming to the public meeting, and certainly the patio program can be looked at that public meeting as well if necessary. But yeah, they'll have an ability to comment. At this point, we just like to get the information out and see how they take it.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Any further comments or concerns? We will go to a motion.
I have a motion moved by Stacy White, seconded by Rick Owen. Be it resolved that the correspondence received from Eugene Ivanoff on June 17th, 2020 be received. That report number 2020-Dev-031 entitled Temporary Seasonal Patio Program be received. That council approve the temporary seasonal patio program as presented. That council delegate authority to the Director of Development Services to approve applications received under the temporary seasonal patio program, including encroachment agreements into municipal road allowances. That council directs staff to apply for a temporary use bylaw to reduce the restrictions associated with expanded patios on private land. And that council waive user fees associated with establishing a temporary outdoor patio with the exception of building permits.
Any further concerns from council? Councillor Adams?
Is it possible to possibly just remove from the report the correspondence from Eugene Ivanoff on June 17th be received? Like if this is for all businesses and we're doing it for all businesses, I just feel uncomfortable accepting a document from a councillor that seems to be apparent in the background that helped influence this decision. I'm just not sure what kind of trouble that might get us in down the road, but if they're all going to be, if it's for everybody, we understand that he owns a business and I don't feel comfortable receiving that document. I 100% agree with this report. I want to completely support it, but if that's a part of it, I will not be a part of it. And I'm only one person, so it's just how I feel.
Councillor White?
As the first person on the motion, I don't accept the removal of the correspondence from Councillor Ivanoff as business owner.
Councillor Owen as the seconder.
Yeah, I don't like the optics of this, so I would definitely agree. And I'm like Patrick, I support it 100%, but I just don't like the optics of it. So removing that would receive my support.
Only question I have would be, is it proper to remove that correspondence? Could we
So
have a response from Rick or go ahead, Megan.
Sorry, I can try to.
Go ahead, Ashley.
No, I was going to say that I think it's still essential that you receive the correspondence from Eugene. I would probably argue that maybe 2 motions get passed if you don't want it to be reflective of.
Yeah.
That would be my recommendation, but maybe Mr. McGee can chime in.
Certainly. Thank you, Your Worship. I had difficulty with my mute button. So under different circumstances where we weren't in the midst of a pandemic and it was natural course of business with correspondence coming forward, it would appear as a piece of correspondence from any member of the public, as it appeared this evening as a piece of correspondence from a member of the public who owns a business. Because it was a request and because council has indicated through the strategic plan and through previous comments that they want to do everything they can to help local business, especially during a pandemic situation, this is what stimulated staff to bring it forward. So I think it's reasonable that Ms. Bilodeau included it as part of the report as the stimulus as to why staff was bringing this report forward. Entirely proper and acceptable for council to say, let's receive the correspondence first, and then let's do the motion separately to provide the recommendations. So perhaps the motion that's on the floor currently could be withdrawn. The motion to receive the correspondence put forward, discussed, voted upon, and then the recommendation from Ms. Bilodeau could be brought up secondary to that, if that makes sense, Your Worship.
Councillor Adams.
Yeah, it's just that if this is the correspondence that started it, on June 11th, I did write an email requesting how do we help these patio owners? And was told that we should buy gift certificates from their businesses and support them in that manner. So 6 days later, we get this request. We can do the 2 different votes, but there was a precursor to this, I would have hoped, in requesting how do we help these local businesses with permitting issues on June 11th. So yeah, we can do the 2 votes. I'm okay with that.
And maybe, Your Worship, just to clarify, I think I responded to that question in that we should respond to local business owners when they actually request assistance. And I think when a local business person comes forward, they know best what they need to provide assistance. And we've seen a situation where staff is exactly responding to a local business person who's made a request of the municipality to assist them. And I think that's the most productive way to approach these types of situations rather than speculate.
So we'll withdraw that motion as presented. And we have a motion to accept correspondence.
Okay, so motion moved by Stacy White, seconded by Rick Owen. Be it resolved that the correspondence received from Eugene Ivanoff on June 17th, 2020 be received.
Any objections? None noted. Motion carried.
Okay. Can I have a mover and seconder for the second motion?
I'll move.
Councillor White, Councillor Casey Owens.
Moved by Stacy White, seconded by Casey Owens. Be it resolved that report number 2020-dev-031 entitled Temporary Seasonal Patio Program be received. That council approve the temporary seasonal patio program as presented. That council delegate authority to the Director of Development Services to approve applications received under the temporary seasonal patio program, including encroachment agreements into municipal road allowances. That council directs staff to apply for a temporary use bylaw to reduce the restrictions associated with expanded patios on private land. And that council waive the user fees associated with establishing a temporary outdoor patio with the exception of building permits.
Any further discussion? None noted. Any objections to the motion as presented? None noted. Motion carried. Motion to move into closed session.
Motion moved by Patrick Adams, seconded by Casey Owens. Be it resolved that council move into an in-camera meeting pursuant to section 239(2) to discuss one matter involving employee negotiations.
Councillor Owen.
Yeah, I'm going to declare my pecuniary interest now, and I'm going to leave the meeting as that the only thing after this is a confirmation bylaw. Thank you. Have a good
Okay.
night, people.
Thank you.
Okay, so your worship, I'm just going to pause the recordings.